Unless you've been living under a rock, you should be familiar with this man here. This is Jiujitsu. He's one of the OG Jiu-Jitsu YouTubers. Chewy recently published a video titled Daily BJJ Recovery Routine Must Have for Older Grapplers. This is a response video to Chewy's recovery advice. I'm going to be breaking down what he recommends and what his daily routine is for a recovery protocol on a training day.
So I know it's in vogue right now. Everybody's got an ice bath, everybody's using them, but it's an amazing tool for recovery. For me, like getting in there for 2 to 3 minutes on my rolling days is when I really do it. So if I'm lifting, I won't do the ice bath that day because I want to keep that inflammation in my muscles, but especially after a rolling day where I come home and I'm kind of banged up, my neck or my shoulders, everything's kind of jacked up, I'll jump in there for 2 to 3 minutes and I feel amazing afterwards.
Is an ice bath actually good for recovery? Well, the research on this is very mixed, and I covered the research in detail in episode 3 of the BJJ Strong podcast. So I'm going to play a clip from that episode here, which brings me to ice baths and cold immersion. This is a very popular recovery tactic. However, if you implement it immediately after training, it will blunt the inflammatory response and blunt the positive effects or our recovery from the training stimulus. That's for jiu-jitsu, for hypertrophy training, for strength training, and everything in between. However, there has been research to show that cold immersion and ice baths will reduce muscle soreness. So if you're in a state of non-functional overreaching or fear that you might be from a workout, then going into an ice bath can help to reduce that muscle soreness, but it's essentially going to be robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're not going to get any positive benefit from your workout.
All right, guys, so I get a monthly massage from my massage therapist, but a lot of times it's nice to be able to do some sort of self-work on yourself to loosen things up. And again, nothing groundbreaking here. We've got a foam roller, I've got a lacrosse ball, and I've got a massage gun. I'll talk about how I use them in a second. Nothing groundbreaking, but when I got the question about recovery, these are the things that I do. So the foam roller, obviously you can go through it. The big one that I like to go through, because again, when we're recovering from like training, when we think about what training does to us, one area for me is my back. We round so much.
Okay, so Chewy recommends doing a foam rolling routine or a foam rolling protocol after training to improve recovery. Let's break that down. In the research, it's actually quite mixed on foam rolling. There has been no evidence to suggest that foam rolling improves your recovery. What has been shown in the research is that foam rolling can temporarily alleviate muscle soreness, thus helping to improve recovery. Because if we can reduce your delayed onset muscle soreness or your DOMS, reduce your muscle soreness that you feel after training, yes, it can help improve your sleep, which will help your recovery. So, we need to interpret it with a grain of salt, if you will.
But I can also open things up, and I'll sit here for just, a minute or two at a time and just take some big, deep breaths.
I really like the protocol that Chewy is showing here. It's referred to as the T-spine smash or thoracic spine smash. What I recommend that he do is work in side to side, as you can see me doing here. Arch, extend, and roll over the foam roller, add in some movement whilst maintaining large breath volume, as Chewy points out. You will also note that here I'm using a textured foam roller. I much prefer a textured foam roller as it allows you to get a bit deeper into your muscle. You go a bit deeper than the surface layer. Some of the real soft, smooth foam rollers just don't do enough to really make any change or any impact into your muscle. When we're talking specifically about recovery, I think that mobility definitely plays a role, but I would caveat that in saying that you get more benefit if you do a proper warm-up, a mobility, jiu-jitsu specific mobility warm-up before you roll, and you do a cool down immediately after you roll. Now, what has been shown in the research is that by implementing a cool down, it calms down your central nervous system. And if you pair this with a breathing protocol, it can be a potent 2-for-1, which will kickstart your recovery. This isn't woo-woo science. It has been backed by the research. I go into this concept in detail in episode 3 of the BJJ Strong podcast on recovery. I'm going to play a clip from that now. If you haven't heard of box breathing before, imagine your breathing pattern is represented by the 4 sides of a square. Each side is equal length and can be anywhere between 3 to 12 seconds, but it's most commonly employed as 4 seconds. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold for 4. Then repeat this cycle. This is the 4 sides of the box, hence why it's called box breathing.
So anytime I talk about recovery, people always ask about supplements. Chewy, what supplements do you take? If you take any, I do take supplements, and so I want to give you the ones that I'm using currently or have used sometime recently. All of these supplements, when we're talking about recovery, are going to be geared towards helping me get better sleep, better rest, because again, at the end of the day, sleep, having good sleep is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck recovery-wise. I pretty much always take magnesium and zinc. Magnesium especially has a very relaxing effect, and you can look up the stuff on it before you get into it and find the particular type of magnesium you want to take. But I like taking magnesium. And again, I'll put all the supplement lists and sort of the dosages that I use down below.
I absolutely love that Chewy is emphasizing that his supplements are geared toward improving his sleep. At the end of the day, sleep is one of the most important aspects of your recovery, and it's part of my 3 pillars of recovery system, being training protocols, sleep, and nutrition. Now, Chewy mentions that he takes magnesium because it helps to improve his sleep. There is limited evidence in the research to show that magnesium actually improves sleep. I want to play this clip from the BJJ Strong podcast talking about magnesium as it relates to sleep. Magnesium is believed to regulate the sleep-wake cycle and potentially improve sleep due to its actions as an NMDA antagonist and a GABA agonist. Some evidence suggests that magnesium deficiencies is associated with poor sleep quality, and magnesium deficiencies is one of the most common deficiency in the first world. However, there is limited evidence to show that magnesium supplementation improves your sleep quality. One meta-analysis found that magnesium may reduce the time it takes to fall asleep in older adults with insomnia, but it did not improve total sleep time or sleep quality. On the topic of supplements, if you're interested in learning more about supplements specifically for jiu-jitsu athletes, including what to take, how much to take, the different forms of supplements, and which ones are more beneficial, then check out the Jiu-Jitsu supplement guide. It's a completely free resource that acts like an app on your phone. You can download that, link in the description. Chewy has an awesome recovery routine. It works for him really well, and I love that the emphasis is specifically on sleep. It is one of the best things you can do to improve your recovery is to improve your sleep. If you want to learn more about a full, in-depth, deep dive into recovery specifically for jiu-jitsu, science-backed protocols that you can implement today to improve your sleep, improve your training protocols, improve your nutrition, all geared toward improving your recovery for jiu-jitsu, then check out episode 3 of the BJJ Strong podcast. I'll put a link to that in the description. Thank you so much to Chewy for sharing this information with us, and thanks for watching.